Ladies and gentlemen, it is another Friday night on Sideline Sports Network, and this is the Gauntlet. We're talking everything about the NFL with our own fun and unique twists. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. Our Week 1 Gauntlet grinders. So yes, off season is over. The regular season is back. We just went through Week 1. We'll look at the top performers of the week, sports morons, the dumbest takes and the dumbest moments in sports. Get it off your chest. If you need to rant about something, if you need to call somebody out, this is your space to do it. And the Tyreek Hill fiasco with the police. We're finally going to get to give our opinions about this and what's going on, because there's been so much stuff come out since then. So it's been like almost a week. So you're kind of seeing the full story try to unfold. And then non-sports topic, we got Kendrick Lamar, just slightly sports related, but still we're going to focus on Kendrick Lamar and how he is going to be performing at the Super Bowl in New Orleans. A lot of people have been saying Lil Wayne got screwed. We're going to go into that, and it's going to be really interesting. But first, I got Kendall with us tonight. Kendall, I just want to introduce you, and you can tell people about yourself, tell them about your show and what you do. Just a little bit before we get started.
Yes, sir, man. Appreciate it, James, man. You too, Jay, man. Appreciate y'all having me. I'm one of the newest members of Sideline Sports. I do have my own show over here, Ken's Pat Star Patriots Podcast. I'm a Patriots fan. If y'all can't tell from the back, I will be doing my show on the network 3 times a week on the Sideline Sports Network, Ken's Pat Star Patriots Podcast. I'm happy to join the team. Happy to build with y'all, and just go from there. It's a pretty good network. I'm new to the Gauntlet, so hey, let's see how let's go and rock with it.
You have to let me know how we run the show, what you think about after the show. But you said 3 times a week, but what time is that you start?
It'll be Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. I didn't do it tonight because my co-host he's not available tonight. But Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern.
And how long does it run until? 7:30 until like 8:30?
About 8.
About an hour? Okay,
yeah.
Cool. All right, cool, brother. Awesome, man. If you want to see the Patriots perspective, definitely check his show out. By the way, the Patriots start off the season 1-0 with the win against the Bengals. So how you feeling about your team this year? Like, are they going to be better than what people expected? Because there's not really that much high expectations like there was when Tom Brady was there, obviously.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be better. I mean, the bar is so low, so we ain't got no choice but to be better. They got us I think Vegas got us at 4.5 wins. I definitely think we'll get over that. The Dolphins just probably lost their quarterback for the season, or probably for his career last night, and they're in our division. So that's gonna probably be another win for us right there. They've been throwing our tail lately. I didn't think we'd beat Cincinnati. We got a tough one Sunday against Seattle, so we can get to 2-0 going into next Thursday night against the Jets. Man, if I would have told myself we'd be 3-0 in the month of September, I thought I was tripping, man. But yeah, man, I think we're going to exceed expectations only because the bar is so low. So I feel good, man.
If you would have told me last week that the Patriots were going to beat the Bengals on the road, I would have said you're tripping. So honestly, for 1 week, I gotta give it to him, man. Give it to him. But one last thing before we actually get into the Gauntlet Grinders. We just started the show. We're only about 4 minutes in. Last night, reaction, the Bills win against the Dolphins 31-10. The result is overshadowed by Tua, and he got another concussion. He had a bunch of surgeries prior to even when he was in the NFL. He's got an injury history, and these concussions, they can really add up over time, especially if you take too many of them. So it's kind of like, what do you got? Where do you guys stand on this? Should he keep going, or is it not worth the risk of what can happen? What do you guys think? Jay, I'll start with you.
I think that if he can, he should. Now, let's get this straight right now. Head injuries are very, very, very serious, especially with the effects of CTE and what they can do. But one thing must be taken into consideration, that he started every game last season. And so he started 30 games in the last 2 years. But also at the same time, it is something he needs to think about. He did just get his contract and everything. I know not everything is about money. It's also about keeping himself safe. Also, Tua's been critical of failing to protect himself. last night. If he slides feet first, are we having this conversation? Probably not. You know, so that's just something that he has to learn how to do. If he's gonna scramble, get out of bounds. If you're gonna run, slide. I remember there was one game. I think it was Dolphins Ravens, and somebody slid. What's up, Cowboy? It was Joe Flacco, I believe it was, and a Miami defender lit him up because he slid too late. You know, so as much as the league wants to protect quarterbacks, now me, I'm old school. You know me. At the end of the day, he's a football player. He has a responsibility to protect himself also. Yeah. So, I feel for Tua. I wish him a speedy recovery, but this right here should be a lesson that he should protect himself a little bit more.
You're saying yes or no to keep playing or retire?
Keep playing, if he can.
You know what? I'm not mad at that take, and when I talk about mine later, I'll explain why. But Kendall, I'm gonna kick it to you now. Your reaction to what happened last night, and yes or no, you should retire or not?
Well, first off, on the game, I think it was a good win by Buffalo. They've kind of owned the Dolphins right here in the AFC East. They've owned them for the most part. I think Allen's like 12-2 against them, so you kind of had their number. I think if they was going to get Buffalo, it was going to be last night because the Buffalo team now, they lost a lot of guys. And, you're not going to catch them in another better time. So that was their time to win last night. On tour, I think he should hang it up, man. I think he should hang it up. This is his fourth concussion, and then rumor has it that when he had, when he got hit against the Bengals, the Bengals a couple years ago, he got hit against the Bengals. He was thinking about retirement. Then they said reports came out.
I remember that. That one was worse, I think, than this one.
That was concussion.
And the reason why I think he should let it go because the one that he got hit last night, it didn't look like he just went in. He went in head first or whatnot. I'm like, just imagine if it had been worse than that. I think it's time. I'm glad he got his money this offseason, but I think he need to let it go, man, and just maybe Miami should call up Jacksonville for Mac Jones or something like that. I don't know, but they I think he has let it go, man. He got a family. It's bigger than just football, man. I'm glad they paid him too. It'd have been different had it not paid him, but he got a lot of money to be guaranteed to. I think he just need to let it go, man. And I think he will. I got a feeling we won't be seeing Tua playing again.
You really think so?
I got a good feeling about that.
Okay. Honestly, you guys both make a good case. You guys both make really good points. My reaction was, I didn't really have like a real reaction. Like I didn't go on social media and jump to any conclusions about what happened. I saw the hit. I saw the play. I don't think by the defense, Damar Hamlin, I think it was. I don't think malicious intent was behind that. So I'm because sometimes there is going to be. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a lot of players in the NFL that's a dirty player. That they don't care. They don't care about the rules. They don't care about the penalties, suspension. They will just go out there with the intention to rip your head off. So you have to ask yourself the question, what is going to happen if he's in that type of scenario? Mm-hmm. So that play, we see that stuff kind of like all the time in the NFL. So I don't know, man. I don't know if Tua can continue to play or that he should. I'm probably leaning towards he shouldn't. But also, you make a strong case that, this guy has to learn how to protect himself. Run out of bounds, slide, do something. Don't put yourself always in this position that, unfortunately has been the case the last, 2 years with all these concussions and other injuries that he's dealt with. So, honestly, it's his decision. If he wants to keep continuing playing, I understand. But you got to be smart. You got to be smart, and you got to protect yourself. So that's what it comes down to. Because you put yourself in this position too many more times. I'm sorry to say, but there may not be that many times left.
Right.
That's where I'm at with it.
And the thing, it wasn't like he got hit and slammed and got his head slammed on the ground.
Right.
It literally was an unlucky shot. He landed on Damar Hamlin's knee, like head first. Like, what are the odds?
Damar was not trying to take him out, and that's kind of what That's kind of what my whole point is.
And it's the after effects that when he does the thing with his hands or whatnot. Like, come on, I hate seeing. I think Mental he was on NFL Good Morning Football this morning. He's a good friend of Tua, a real close friend of the family. He said he told Tua that he should retire after the Cincinnati one when he got hit in Cincinnati.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he told him he should do it then. Man. So I don't think we're gonna see Tua again. I'd be shocked. I think the Dolphins are gonna put him on IR. He missed 3 or 4 games, but I think that's gonna give him time to think about his future and get opinions.
That's probably the best thing they can do for him at this point. Because
I think if you put him back out there as an organization, that's not a good look for the Miami Dolphins. And Commissioner Goodell was at the game last night.
Yeah,
he was there. Yeah, he was there for his hand. I don't think that's. I mean, I think I heard from Colin Cowherd earlier said something about the NFL could step in and just make sure he doesn't play again or force him to retire. Something has to be done, man. I hate because if he plays again, he's probably gonna get another concussion. I mean, I think they play Arizona next week. I think whenever they come back, so I think they're gonna put him on IR to start, and then he'll give him some time. But I'd be shocked, man, if we see Tua again. I think he's done.
Honestly, I don't think you're wrong. We'll have to see how it plays out. But Gauntlet Grinders, time for our first segment, but really enjoyed that kind of startup conversation that we had. Try to get everything flowing in. But this is where you guys can pick up to 2 players from. Sometimes you guys do 2 conferences. Honestly, I don't like doing that way. I pick 2 players who I think were performing at a high level. Yep. And that's just what I do. So I'm going to be biased to the first one. A.J. Brown had 5 catches for 119 yards and touchdown. Burned Jaire Alexander on that route. Just ran all the way across the field down in Brazil. A.J. Brown, he's probably going to be on this list again before the season's over. He was on it quite a bit last year, the season he had. And then I'm also going to shout Baker Mayfield with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and his performance. And when you look at what the Cleveland Browns have been, pretty much when Deshaun Watson is in the lineup, where could the Cleveland Browns team be if they just held on to Baker Mayfield for a couple more years and then caved to the pressure of Deshaun Watson, the superstar, he's this, he's that, traded the whole world to the Houston Texans. You look at what the Texans are doing now, Jay's team, TJ Stroud, thriving. Baker Mayfield also thriving. Deshaun Watson, there's another word for what he's doing with the Cleveland Browns, but I can't say it on the air. He's stinking it up. He's not that guy. But Baker Mayfield got the Bucs to the playoffs, beat the Eagles in the playoff game, had a competitive game against Detroit. So Baker Mayfield's stock continues to rise and the Cleveland Browns continues to go down. So I think Baker Mayfield, all the reason in the world to be the Gauntlet Grinder. So that's my shout.
That's actually crazy to think about, man. Baker Mayfield, because I think that was a 7-point loss at Detroit in the playoffs.
They could have beat him. They had opportunities.
Think about that for a second. Baker Mayfield was 1 or 2 possessions away from the NFC Championship game. That's quick. When he was in Cleveland, no one thought they would get that far. He was 1 or 2 possessions away from the NFC title game. The Bucs, even though they play in a weak division, they may be a little closer than people think they are.
Yeah, for sure.
My Gauntlet Grinders for the week. I'm gonna be biased just like you, James.
Go ahead. This is your time to be biased, bro. I did it. You can do it.
I'm gonna go with Ramondre Stevenson. Man had 20+ carries for a buck. He had 124 yards, I believe. And he had a touchdown. He was the sole reason why we won that game against upset the Bengals. Nobody gave him a chance. So that's one of them. And I got one more grinder for y'all. I'm gonna stay with the running back. Monday Night Football. Jordan Mason, 20+ carries, 100 and something yards. He had a couple touchdowns too and beat the Jets. Man, I'm glad they did beat the Jets because they're in our division. So my 2 grinders for the week are going to be Ramondre Stevenson and Jordan Mason. Man, undrafted free agent, came out of nowhere, fielding from Chris McCaffrey. Also, Chris McCaffrey, he's not going to play this week. So I don't know if y'all do fancy with it now. If y'all set your lineups, go ahead and start Jordan Mason for this week. So Jordan Mason and Ramondre Stevenson will be my Gauntlet grinders for this week. 2 running backs.
Hey, yo, now that he said running backs, I realized that I'm tripping. Saquon Barkley also had 3 touchdowns.
I'm surprised you didn't say Saquon.
I was shocked you didn't say him.
Look, Saquon was I saw the stat. It said only 2 Eagles players scored 3 touchdowns in their debut. The other was Terrell Owens. There's not much else to be said about his performance. When you're in that company, then you're doing something great. So, Saquon, great shout to him. But, Jay, you got it from here. Your Gauntlet Grinders of the Week.
Well, they say things happen in threes, okay? So if JT is going to be biased and Ken Dog is going to be biased, I'm going to be biased. Joe Mixon, front and center, running back, Houston Texans, in a win against the Indianapolis Colts, 29-27. He had 30 carries for 159 and a score. He averaged 5.3 yards per carry. How about that for your first game as a Texan? Mixon is going to do numbers this year. Love it coming from the young boy. And then also on the my other Gauntlet Grinder, I see Jacob Christner in the comments, and I know he's got something to say. But I'm going to give a Gauntlet Grinder to the entire Chicago Bears defense. 3 sacks, 2 interceptions, including a pick 6, and a block punt return TD that single-handedly came back and beat the Titans. And I know that
the reason why they beat Tennessee, they came back. Yeah.
And I know we talked about this on Picked Off and everything, but it is what it is, okay? They were down 17-0. What was it, 17-3 going into the half, and then the Bears defense just completely took the game over. So those are my Gauntlet Grinders for the week. Shout out to the Bears defense and shout out to Joe Mixon.
All right, man. Moving on from this segment, ladies and gentlemen, when we get back, it's time for the opposite grinder. Who wasn't grinding, aka the sports moron of the week. So get your takes ready, get everything ready, because this segment, somebody is about to go off about everything that took place this week in the NFL. Guys, we'll be right back after this. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Sports Moron of the Week when we go off about the dumbest things and the dumbest moments in sports. So there I was, Monday afternoon and evening, having the most normal day. Monday is the first day of the week, or the working week. So I'm going to work, I'm having a normal day, get off work, getting ready for tonight, Monday Night Football, fantasy football. And then a matchup against Jay in the first game of the season. And it's announced an hour before the game when you're really supposed to report stuff, especially if you know, which the 49ers did not report Christian McCaffrey's injury. And it pretty much screwed me because I could not do anything. Elijah, or what's his name? Mason, the running back, was supposed to have been announced as a starter from Friday. They knew since Friday. He confirmed it in his post-game interview. So I got screwed. I couldn't start anybody or switch them out because of the 49ers. And only a dirty, scheming, whatever you want to call it, like Kyle Shanahan, would do something like this. So I already had beef with the 49ers. I already had beef with Deebo Samuel and everything that he has said about the Eagles and celebrating like they won the Super Bowl last year when they beat us. I already have beef with this team, and now I have more beef. So San Francisco 49ers, even though you won the game, you screwed me, and you're the sports moron of the week.
Hey, I like that one.
That's my explosive rant of the night.
I like that one. I'm gonna stay with I'm gonna go with the Cincinnati Bengals and Jamar Chase. He made some comments. I think it was yesterday. He said that the Bengals are the team to beat in the AFC still. I'm like, bro, your team is still. Your team is still. I mean, they always got some slow starts. T. Higgins is not playing this year. Jamar Chase got locked up last week by my boy Christian Gonzalez. Joe Burrow's not healthy. I'm like, the Chiefs is the team to beat the AFC. The Super Bowl champion. I don't know where Cincinnati Bengals. I don't know where Jamar Chase said that. I don't know why he said that. That the Bengals are still the team to beat the AFC. So that's my sports moron of the week. But that was a terrible take right there to me. I didn't understand that. And I think Chiefs gonna beat them this week 2-0.
And a lot of Bengals players been talking about the Chiefs this week too.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
Trying to poke the bear.
All right, Jay, you're up next. What's your sports moron?
So JT sent me an interesting clip earlier, okay? And I messaged him back and I was like, yeah, this is going to be Sports Moron, and I'll tell you why. This one goes out to one Ken Carmen, radio host of 92.3 The Fan out in Cleveland, Ohio. So the first caller calls in and points out that Baker Mayfield's passer rating was 146.4 and Deshaun Watson's was 51.1. Ken Carmen decides to go on this loud rant screaming, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't undo the trade. See, this is the type of stuff that I'm talking about here, okay? When you get told the truth and you act like a damn toddler, that's exactly what you did, King Carmen, okay? Admit it. The Browns made a mistake. The entire sports world is saying this. Your native Clevelanders are saying this. It's about time that you listen to them. And if he happens to catch this broadcast, I'd be more than glad to go head up with you on the air. We could have told you this because Watson was coming from our team, from our squad. And then you see what Baker's doing in Tampa. And you look and see what Watson's doing. So don't go acting like a child, a petulant child who needs his diaper changed, who didn't get his bottle, who got refused a toy because a fan pointed out the obvious truth. You yelling and screaming on the radio ain't gonna do nobody no favor. For damn sure ain't gonna do the Browns no favors. Okay? So it is what it is. Someone told you the truth and you got mad and lost it. Sports Moron of the week.
All right. I got my friend Joseph Jenkins, who's known as JJ by most of you, in the house.
What's going on? I see we have a new person. I don't know who that is.
Yes.
How's it going?
I'd like to introduce you to...
yo,
meet you, man.
Okay.
This is Kendall. He's
What's up,
New England Patriots fan, and he has a show on Sideline Sports as well where he talks about the Patriots. So he's sitting in as a guest for us tonight.
Okay.
But, Joseph,
I don't have a more, but I want
to
chat. I want to ask Mr. J over here about the Cleveland. Do you believe hindsight's 20/20?
Do I believe hindsight's 20/20? I do.
So in that case, I can't get mad at them for sticking with Deshaun before Baker went to this point, because prior to Baker actually getting to this point, there were questions about him before last season. So it's not as if it's always good for us to look back and say, you made the wrong decision. You didn't do this. That's why hindsight is 20/20, in my opinion. Now, as far as you talking about how they responded back, absolutely.
And that was my point.
Is definitely correct. But as far as the decision to take him on at that time, knowing what happened with Baker Mayfield, because Baker was on his way out, had so much going on. Deshaun, everyone didn't know what this was about to happen. So we didn't know any of this stuff. But we did know the guy that we saw almost came back from, almost beat the Patrick Mahomes in the AFC, I think the title game or the AFC round. We saw that guy. We always, and another thing that people have to remember is this team is playing without Nick Chubb. And we have said Nick Chubb is the best player on this squad. So if this team is built around him, and
he's not the best player
and this quarterback is brought in to maximize with him, and he's not here, there are going to be some struggles. But I'm not going to sit here and say they didn't make the right decision back then, because if you play this back and you take all of this out the way and you go back to that time, ain't nobody going to talk about the future like, oh, now I know Baker's going to do this. They're going to be like, you know what? Deshaun was the right choice at that time, because he was.
I totally understand that. The thing about it is this, and I understand it as the front office, because we all have been through it. There are going to be some good calls. There are going to be some bad decisions. You make a decision and you stick to it. My point was this. Because you were told the truth about what happened and you go yelling and screaming again like a petulant child, it's not doing anyone any favors at all.
So there's this.
Just one thing I want to say real quick.
To Minnesota about Kirk Cousins. Did anybody tell the truth to Detroit about Matthew Stafford? Matthew Stafford had been looking good, but everybody was sitting there saying, you need to leave this. He's not worth it, whatever. He leaves and goes to the Super Bowl. Deshaun's career, I'm not saying he's going to be better or everything like that, but his career is undetermined. And at the end of the day, there is a stain coming into Cleveland, because when he got to Cleveland is when the assault cases and assault everything started really coming to light. So there is a stain.
It was before he got to Cleveland. He was gone for it was being investigated.
Right, but it was on his way to Cleveland. So the stain of it is in your mind on your way to Cleveland. And I know of personal experience how much mental battles are a big deal. So I would sit here and say, with Deshaun, he's got a lot going on. And he has a lot going on. But I will say, I'm not going to use what's happening now to sit here and say they made the wrong decision back then. Because Baker could have easily turned the other way, but you didn't know what you knew from back then. It's always easy to look back and say, yeah, you made the wrong decision, because it's hindsight. Hindsight is 2020. You just go the opposite direction of what you win. We could do that with every decision we've made in life. We could go back and say, I should have made the other one.
Sure. So here, let me just jump into this debate real quick, because there's 2 points that I want to make. Number one, last time I checked, Myles Garrett is the reigning defending Defensive Player of the Year. So to say Nick Chubb is more important to the Browns' success than him, that's just not true.
How do you convey that?
Second of all, at some point,
we got there first.
You have to move on from that. You have to move on from whatever situation Deshaun was in. Because guess who else was in a situation? Michael Vick. And he came out and he still performed, led the Eagles to the playoffs, had some good moments with the Eagles after he came from prison.
So what happened in 2010?
So if he can do it, Deshaun Watson can also do it. He has not performed whatsoever since he's been a Cleveland Browns player.
So let me ask you a question. Deshaun, I think Vic went to prison in what, 07, 06, 08?
Yeah, he did like 3 years.
And then he didn't get better till 3 or 4 years later. So it's not as if he jumped right back in and dominated. He didn't jump right back and dominate. He had a 6-game stretch that was elite. 6 games. Because what happened in the playoffs against Clay Matthews?
Watson had 0.
Huh?
Watson has had 0.
Watson has not had 0. Watson had a few one. Actually, last year when they beat the Ravens, everybody was on Watson's back. Let's not act like that wasn't happening. Let's not
Watson,
act like
I never remember that happening.
Let's not act when he came back from against the Ravens. I remember it specifically. Everyone, including you, was
not
like,
including me.
Including you. That was the one that's like, that's the Deshaun Watson that I was expecting. That's the Deshaun Watson. So that's a proof that he can do it. But again, there are other things going on. But my whole problem, the whole thing about this whole situation is, you're not going to convince me that you're going to sit there and say they made the wrong choice just because you're using hindsight in 2020. Period. It's not going to work because it's not going to happen.
It's not hindsight. Baker Mayfield won a playoff game for the Browns. Deshaun Watson has won nothing.
And prior to that point, who had the better career up until that point? Who made the further part in the playoffs? Deshaun Watson was doing that.
It doesn't matter. You're acting like Baker did nothing for the Browns.
Baker had a playoff game, but who was better at that time? Let's be real about this.
You're acting like Baker has done nothing for the Browns. It's not true.
Let's not act like Baker just got great, and that means that decision was wrong. No, it wasn't. And I guarantee if you go back to that time, when you go back there, you can't remember all this stuff. This stuff didn't happen. So when you go back to that time and you go back to that situation, you will sit here and tell me you're going to take Baker Mayfield over Deshaun Watson? No way, no how. And I don't even buy that if anybody said that, because at that time, none of this was happening. None of this was happening. Everybody was sitting there saying, and I will say about the Myles Garrett, 1,000% agree he is definitely the best defender on that squad. But let's not make no mistake that Nick Chubb was everything with him. Nick Chubb and him are the foundation of that squad. He got there first. I think Nick came after.
I'm not saying Nick Chubb is not important to the Browns, but I'm saying if we're saying the best player on the Browns, it's without a doubt Myles Garrett.
I think we can argue that Nick Chubb is up there too. I think we can argue Nick Chubb and him because Nick Chubb was considered a what top running back? Top 3, top 2? Like I think
Myles Garrett's considered a top 3 player in the NFL.
You say it's not true. I'm sitting there saying I can sit there and accept the fact you can argue that they're both on the same level. You can argue that. You can argue that based off of what they have done to that squad and the success that they have meant for that squad.
I think if you put Myles Garrett on the market right now, teams would give you 2 first-round picks for him.
They're not giving you 2 first-round picks for Nick Chubb.
He's a running back. He's a running back and it's an expendable position. It's a replaceable
It
position.
does not matter. Running
Pass
back.
rusher is a premium position. That's how championship
And again,
teams are built.
you cannot
with
sit here and see. That's the problem I have.
trenches and O-line and D-line.
You can't sit here and say edge rusher is the only way to win a championship because that's a bold-faced lie.
I didn't say it was the only way. I said it's a premium
If that's
position.
the case, hold on. If that's the case, you would have won the Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes, right? Because you had the best edge rushers in the league that year. We would have won a Super Bowl because we had the best edge rushers in the league last year. Overall sacks. That's not the case. There's more to it. What happened to Patrick Mahomes when he got there? He used Isaiah Pacheco to get all the way.
He has a great O-line, and he's got Chris Jones on the other side.
You're not going to sit here and say edge rusher is more important than the running back. Everything is their career.
It is.
Is their career? No, it's not. When you have a premier running back. Patrick Mahomes literally just won last year, relying on Isaiah
Who was
Pacheco.
the last premier running back to win a Super Bowl?
Huh?
Who was the last premier running back to win a Super Bowl?
What are you talking about? The last premier running back to win a Super Bowl? He is what's it called? From the Bucks? No, not the Bucks.
What's it called from the Bucks?
But the thing is, I will say this: it's not the Bucks, but I will say this. I get the argument is that you're saying that if you have a sorry running back and great edge rusher, the best edge rusher, and a decent running back, that's more important to win the Super Bowl. When I would sit there and say, number one player, if that's the case, why ain't T.J. Watt to Pittsburgh going there? Because T.J. Watt's better than Myles Garrett. But no, Nick Chubb is arguably the same level as Myles Garrett on the squad.
Now hold up. If we keep going back and forth like this all night, we're gonna be stuck on this segment all night.
No, I got
we got more stuff that we gotta talk about.
Respectfully,
I disagree with you on this one. I made my case. You made your case.
I disagree
now,
too.
Now we're gonna move on.
I disagree too. We'll continue on the same time.
Now we're gonna move on to our next topic, which is finally to discuss the Tyreek Hill fiasco with the police and everything that happened and all the drama, and his teammates were involved. Jonnu Smith and Calais Campbell were also handcuffed at the scene. I'm not exactly sure why. There's been a lot more information that has come out, and I actually want to read a report. This is something that I found today from TMZ. According to Miami-Dade Police Department records, we obtained Officer Danny Torres has received numerous complaints since joining the MDPD back in October 1996. The records show on 6 separate occasions he was accused of misconduct, including force violations as well as improper procedures. Torres was also investigated for his use of force at least 13 times in his career as well. So, I think that based off of the video, body cam footage that we saw of Officer Torres, based off of all these reports, he's been given enough chances. He's been given enough opportunities. He needs to be let go by the Miami-Dade Police Department. There is no other solution. You can't give people a pass to do whatever they want to people and treat people any way they want to treat them. And they have a track record which shows they do not care. They do not show remorse. He's obviously poorly trained when it comes to de-escalation. And I was very shocked and disappointed by the footage and everything. So the guy just has to go. I don't care what anyone says about Tyreek Hill and bringing up his past and domestic violence. Listen, for this situation, the cop was in the wrong, and we have the proof right here, the evidence right here that shows you how he conducts himself. The guy's got to go, and it's pretty much that simple to me.
Yeah, I think it was an unfortunate situation. With Tyreek Hill, like he does have a checkered past and things like that, but he could have been more cooperative in the situation. But I feel like for what the police officer did to it, put them on the ground, place them in the cuffs, and then his teammates laid count. I think Jonnu Smith came over there too. Both of them would come over there, and just I feel like that was not even necessary. Tyreek Hill was on his way to the game. Well, I think he was probably going to be late anyway, on the way to the game. I think he told the cop, don't knock on his window like that. I think it started right then. If Tyreek Hill would have cooperated right then, I don't think we'd be here today talking about it a lot. But in saying all that gave the cop no reason to just to throw him on the ground like that after Tyreek Hill did say he just had surgery on his knee or something like that. So I think that gave him no reason to do all that. But that's just not to be too much political whatnot, because that's not me, but that's just the world we live in today. As a person, that's just how things go. That's just the world we live in today. And I agree with you, Jay. I think the guy, he should be let go.
I feel you, man. Yep, that's a good take there. Who wants to take it next, JJ or Jay? Either
So
one
I
of you
want to
guys.
ask you, is it going to be, you said it's a good take he gave. If you give somebody opposite opinion, is it because you vehemently don't agree with it, you'll say it's a bad take?
No.
Or is it more so?
I never said anything you said was a bad take.
No, I'm just asking.
What I said was I disagree.
Right, but what I'm asking is what you just referred. What I'm saying is what you said. What I'm saying is what you just said to Kendall was good take, good take. So when I'm about to give mine, and you know where we've been on this conversation, I'm just curious to know, are you saying good take because you agree with it? Or are you saying good take because he made some good points with it? Because
I think he made good points. I think he made good points.
Okay, because I'll say, because there are points that can be made on the flip side that also could be acknowledged as good points as well. Because number one, is the officer wrong after information we found out? Yes, he absolutely is wrong. He is definitely someone, as you've learned more evidence. At first, I was thinking, at the end of the day, I watched some of the situation with Tyreek Hill. I know how he is. He definitely was mouthing off, which was reported in the reports. He definitely did speak back to him. So if we're going to say definitely with the cop, that's wrong. But I will say, if I could look at Tyreek Hill, I'll say, next time, you know the situation. You know you're African-American man. Even to myself, when I get pulled over, I don't say a goddamn word. I don't say a goddamn word. I do exactly what they tell me to do. And I have been in situations, I've never been arrested, but I've had situations where I've been handled. But at the end of the day, I still was able to get through, because sometimes you don't need to continue to engage. Once you read that they are a person that's going to be losing their cool and losing their mind, that's when you do everything in your power to not give them that energy, because then your case is strengthened further when you file your complaint. I will say at the end of the day, with this gentleman, I would sit here, and I know this part is going to be turned onto different ways, as be like, listen, I will definitely let you go, but I would still pour into you to get help, because again, this where it comes in is that I'm not going to give up on anyone in this world, no matter how many situations happen, because at the end of the day, my life is rooted in my faith. And knowing what happened with everything that I've learned in my life and throughout this word, and the fact that I can make a mistake, I can do the most egregious thing today, and then the next day I can be forgiven and had a chance to be poured into and move forward. That's why I'm called to say, when somebody is broken, you listen. When someone is in pain, you give them a grace. When someone is doing too much, you give them what they need, because at the end of the day, the one that died for us, and I'm not saying for anybody's, this is just for mine, but when I know that person died for me, so I can always be able a constant connection, also constant checks to be better, I'm going to sit there and pray and give this person the resources to hopefully get better, because at the end of the day, that is what, he was a human being. At the human being, there are plenty of us that have done bad things in our life. If we were to be condemned for the rest of our life for those bad things, we would be pretty upset about that. So I would sit there and tell this officer, like, yeah, you have to be let go, because the history is leading up and showing. And at the end of the day, it's not the fact that it was a celebrity, which some people have argued that he used this as his moment. It's the fact of the matter is that this position in this field, given the behaviors that you have exhibited, is not conducive to working for us and for you. So we need to let you go, and we're going to give you the resources, because we brought you on thinking you were great. You showed us we're not, but we're going to still give you something to help you so you can turn the corner. Everybody should be given a chance, no matter how many times, because that's what we're called to do. And so for me, yes, I agree. He went too far. I didn't think he at first, but after seeing the footage and seeing everything, he went way too far. I definitely think he needs to be let go, but I'm going to hope and pray and provide the resources for him to be better, because I don't think he is the scum of the earth for his mistakes. And that's what happens. We live in this world. People have died because of imperceptions they've gotten in incidents that have been happening. So I'm not going to condemn him for the rest of his life, like I've seen people do. And I hate that TMZ released his name and stuff like that, but it's going to happen. You're going to get death threats. His family's getting death threats for his decisions. But yet we'll turn around and say, my family's not affected, responsible for things I do. So people got to remember that when they're talking about the criticism when it comes to this guy. You didn't do it, and I applaud you for that, James, but I've seen it out there.
Yeah.
Same with Mr. Kendall. I applauded that, but I've seen it out there.
No, I think you have a very unique way of using, religion to look at the situation. Look, if another police department gives him opportunity, then hopefully he will get his act together. But as far as that, I agree. Like he needs to let go because not this situation, not brushing it to the side really, but the fact that we know 13 other times he had misconduct, that's just enough for me to say that you've had enough chances. But
yeah,
with this police department.
Well, for me, I would say this: my faith drives everything I do. So I know it may come off as if convenient or things like that, but my faith, everything I do, every action, every reaction, every response, every method, anything I do, I'm trying to lead with my faith because my faith is everything for me. I agree, yes, too many times, but I think where I am a disagreement with not you, but just the overall premise of this. Mm-hmm. It could be 13 times, it could be 77 times, it could be 1,000 times. I'm still going to hope and pour into you and hope that you will turn around the corner because, as I mentioned, my faith driving me, that is what I've learned when I've got reconnected to the word. That is just what it is for me. Like, I'm not going to put a stop on them for the rest of their life after so many things because at some point in time, it's going to click. And if it doesn't, he has to answer to God. And that's okay.
All right, that's a very unique way of looking at it. But I'm really interested, Jay, to get your perspective on everything that happened, your reaction, all the stuff that's come out. Where do you stand with what happened and what steps do you think need to take place to resolve this situation?
I'm agreeing with everybody on the panel. He most definitely needs to be let go. 13 times and then what's going to happen the 14th or 15th time? Because you got to remind everybody, and this is part of the reason why the outcry is so loud, is before this incident, guess what incident involving the police, major incident happened just a few months ago? Sonia Massey. Now, I'm not saying that the situation with Tyreek Hill could have turned violent, but at this point, people don't trust it. They don't trust it at all. That easily could have been Tyreek Hill. Because we all know, okay, on any other day, had this been probably any other police officer, right? Anyone in his right mind, listen, he got stopped for a speeding violation. We're not disputing that, okay? But for the very most part is, hey, you on your way to the game, to the stadium, listen, slow it down, have a good game, score one for us, all right? We're rooting for you. That's it. That's it. If you got to write him a warning, write him a warning. There was no need to pull that man out of the vehicle. See, there's a such thing in departments called threat perception whenever you're going through training, If someone's mouthing off at you, it does not equate you throwing them to the ground or anything like that. If someone's mouthing off or if someone that says, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, doesn't involve you call for you pulling a pistol out and then putting 3 in her. It's gone too far. And
I will ask you a question after you finish.
But I will say this much. If he needs to go to church, then he needs to go to church. And he can get his second chance. He just needs to get his second chance elsewhere. He should not be a law enforcement official. Sure. And like James said, it's right there on camera. That's all the proof you need. And as far as going to another department, you think this isn't making national news? It's going to be very hard for him to land one.
Do you do you have any investment into people being I guess it's like a product of their circumstances or no, but it's like we're looking at Tyreek Hill and he was mouthing off. That's just a fact. Not saying it should have been warranted or not, but you had said mouthing off should not have dictated this happening. Mm-hmm. Can we say every person that mouths off that the police see is acting the same way? Can we say every person? So what I'm saying is this person was wrong. This person didn't think in their actions, but I will say there are causes for them to feel compelled to do that because other people have mouthed off and have taken it far. I do think that we always have to, we got to look at the both sides of it because it was wrong, but the impulse to subdue someone, the impulse to compel you to restrain them based off of what you're seeing, knowing that they can see that every day and they have been in situations like that, it's at that point where you have to sit here and then look at how you're going to restrain them. Like we talk about with men and women when they get into a fight and argument, most people want to hit somebody, but it's how you restrain that person in those moments because you know that if you do anything the wrong way, it could be looked at as what we're looking at with this person.
Right. So, but one thing that also people have to understand, and especially those officers at the scene, is situational awareness. Obviously, we got Tyreek Hill, right? We got Jonnu Smith. We got Calais Campbell, okay? We know there's a game at 1 p.m. It's coming up. Obviously, these guys are on the way to the game. All three men have too much to lose. Why would they assault a police officer? Especially on game day. So, situational awareness, I'm just saying.
Very true. Fair enough. If they didn't, fair enough is that they didn't, have any cause, like he wasn't attacking them or so like that. But we know people, I think what happens is we know words hurt and words can kill. And Tyreek has been one that can let words get him. And this time he might think words got the best of them, which ultimately probably led to the action happening with this officer. And I just hope that this officer's family is okay. Because knowing how people are, mouthing off is not going to be something they do. And are they in the right for that because they're defending Tyreek Hill? No. But that's how people think when they look at all the cops in all these situations. They, one, generalize all cops to everything. And number two, they can't dissociate the cop in that situation from the rest of the people that are around them and impacted by them. So I do hope his family is okay.
Yeah. It's just, sometimes I'll say this, and I know we got to move on. You got to be careful. Granted, was he mouthing off? Yes, but, and I know you're just like reporting what was said and what was seen, right? But with others out there, they have to be careful with how they say it because that's how racist people use to justify attacking and killing us. Oh, he shouldn't have mouthed off. That turns into he shouldn't have resisted. That turns into he deserved the bullet. So whenever you use terms like mouthing off, be careful with that context. Now, I know you know better, JJ. Of course you can. Of course you, James. We're just reporting what we see. But just understand that there's some racists out there that's going to use that as justification for, because he wasn't perfect, yeah, he deserved to be thrown on the ground.
Equally.
Because he wasn't perfect, he deserved to be.
Yeah, that's a terrible mindset to have.
But
it's a terrible mindset to have, but we got to face reality.
There are people out here and say, all cops are bad. This is the situation for Tyreek Hill. I'm aghast them. There are radical people on both sides. So just as we can acknowledge that some people with racists will think and use this as a way to justify their actions, on the flip side, and I know specifically because I live right around the hood and stuff, I listen to how they talk. Yeah. They can use that to justify going after a cop that is doing their job the right way. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Like we can't generalize everybody. We got to specific with this one. And I'm not saying the people on this panel, but people generalize cops based off of bad situations. Yeah. That's the problem.
No, that is true. That is absolutely true.
Problem.
That's the scary thing too, is because they're human beings just like we are.
No, and I have a lot of respect for law enforcement and what they do, especially like in places like where I'm at, Philadelphia. There's a lot of crime here. There's a lot of stuff these guys got to do to keep the community safe. So it's definitely not a situation where I'm going to say all cops are terrible. You can't trust them. You can't do anything. There's a lot of hardworking guys that do their job.
Thank you for that.
This guy, this particular guy that we're talking about is not one of those guys.
He's not one of those guys, yeah.
So he can be held accountable.
Yeah, but I think I get what you mean. I think my outrage is the fact that it's the response to the whole law enforcement because of that. Because people have literally said, they use these isolated situations to justify all cops are bad. So when you justify all cops are bad, if you're in a situation with the cop, your mindset is already skewed. You know what I'm saying? Your mindset's already thinking, I saw what he did to Tyreek Hill. I ain't got time for that. And you're sitting there thinking like that cop could be sitting there and literally would be your biggest ally. Because some cops out there, we always talk about the bad stories, we don't talk about the good stories. It's just, I appreciate you for saying that and disassociating. The problem is the mass media, the mass world.
The only last thing I will add to this is that I think any stereotyping, it can be anything. Like just because a person has money, they think they're better than me. I think those type of things are dangerous. Any stereotype that has to do with a certain race. A person's African American, they're more likely to do crime. Which I see that a lot. So any stereotype like that, stereotype about the cops, also dangerous to go down this path where you put people in a category and saying because some people did this and that, then they're the worst. So that's not cool.
And we should probably get to non-sports topic because 10 minutes left.
Yeah, but you know what? this was a good conversation to have.
Awesome, yeah.
It was. This was not like a
But it's further proof.
easy way to have this conversation, but we had it.
I'm glad that you said that, Don. I will look at the fans and say, this is further proof of how you can be on two opposite ends of the spectrum. But if you know how to communicate and deliver and give the person the ability to speak what they have to say, we can be fine. That is the problem when it comes to these conversations that are emotional.
You gotta be an adult.
Bingo. And we're friends. We've been boys for, who long. And at the end of the day, I know your heart. We're not always going to agree. Same with me. But we are boys. And at the end of the day,
what happened with the Nick Chubb thing. We
Exactly.
disagreed. It got passionate, but it is what it is, bro.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now, I want to see where you guys are standing on this. Now, this probably is going to be less crazy, I think, when it comes to Kendrick Lamar being announced as the headline at the Super Bowl in New Orleans this year. He will be performing as the main guy. A lot of stuff on social media has been about Kendrick Lamar, does he deserve it?
Yeah.
Or AKA Lil Wayne, whose hometown is New Orleans,
Yeah.
got screwed. Let me explain something. I'm going to drop my take, and I'm going to explain why I think that's a ridiculous take. First, you got to look at Kendrick Lamar and everything he's done in his career so far. I think you can say right now, of the last 10 years, he's probably the number one hip-hop artist. When you look at his albums, his work, what he's done, I know everyone is bringing up how they think he also got it because of the situation with Drake. First of all, anything to do with Drake doesn't even scratch the surface of what he has achieved in his career. So he deserves this. He deserves to be on the stage. He deserves to be having his moment there. It's a big moment for his career when you get to headline the Super Bowl. That's such a big thing. Some of the greatest of the great have performed on this stage where he is going. So he deserves this opportunity. This is great for him, and I think more people should be happy for it. On the other side, Lil Wayne, I think is great as well. He was one of the top rappers of his era as well. Because I remember he was really popular when I was growing up too in the 2000s. So I think people need to be a little bit less emotional when it comes to it's in his hometown, it's a great story, it's this, it's that. Because let me remind you guys as well, this is not the first time this Super Bowl has been played in New Orleans. And if I'm correct, JJ the Ravens played the 49ers in New Orleans.
In New Orleans, yep.
So
from that night, Beyonce. They didn't call
that
Wayne.
was about 10 or so years ago when Lil Wayne was probably
That's when my girl got the power out.
He was
considered
on top
at
of
the
the game.
top of the game. So I'm asking this question. Why wasn't the energy given about Lil Wayne being screwed at that time, but all of a sudden it is today because Kendrick is? I just don't think that's fair to Kendrick and everything he's done in his career. I think he deserves it, and that's my take.
I'll answer that.
I'll give you some. Go ahead.
I'll answer that. In my opinion, I think the vast majority of them speaking out are Drake stans. It's what it is. But you brought
Honestly,
up the
that
point.
may not be wrong.
Yeah, the vast majority of them are Drake stans. And
that answers your
the
question
first
of
point-
why nobody. And that answers your question why nobody outcry about Beyonce. How many fans Beyonce had back then compared to how many fans Lil Wayne had? Ain't nobody going to over Trump her.
Yeah, and see, and just like James said, number one, the Super Bowl's in New Orleans roughly every 4 or 5 years. He wasn't called back then. Hell, the Sugar, even outside of NFL, the Sugar Bowl is held in New Orleans every single year. He wasn't even called for that. So why the outcry now about any of this? That's number one. Number two, the host city is the final approving authority. So if they approved of Kendrick, and that's Lil Wayne's backyard, that's saying something. Number three, and probably the most important,
Nobody's turning down Kendrick Lamar, bro.
yeah, and that leads to number three. Jay-Z is one of 9 people on the board that selects the halftime performers. Jay-Z, whether you love or hate him, is going to make the smart business decision, and it is what it is. Kendrick Lamar won 2024, so how do you not pick him for the Super Bowl? He's going to make the smart business decision, and the smart business decision, love it or not, is Kendrick Lamar, not Lil Wayne. If Lil Wayne had a #1 album last year or this past January, it may be a different conversation. But Wayne, not at all taking away his legendary status. He is the best rapper of the previous generation. But he's not hot right now. He's been dormant. Kendrick has been hot. So
that's my only point. It's more about who Kendrick is than like Lil Wayne got screwed. That's why I don't think it's fair.
Yeah. Now, does Lil Wayne have a catalog, that could do a halftime? Absolutely, he does. Yeah. But it's all about what's going on right now. Exactly. And right now, Kendrick Lamar is the hot ticket. Wayne has been dormant. Why would you call someone who's been asleep to come and perform at the Super Bowl? No, you're going to get the hot commodity right then and there. That's how Beyonce got there. That's how Usher got there. That's how all these other ones have gotten there. You got to be hot right now. Man, I didn't look if I were to go and call, I don't know, Cyndi Lauper to perform at the Super Bowl. Who the hell checking for her?
Damn, that's crazy. But JJ, did you have something that you were trying to say earlier?
I'd like to give it to Mr. Kendall because he's
patiently
quiet. Just listen to us just ramble and rant.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it short and simple.
What's your response or what's your take to the situation that we talked about?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Kendrick Lamar and Lil Wayne. So it really would. I can make case for both of them, but I think Kendrick Lamar's the hottest thing going right now. He had one of the latest hottest songs going out. Wayne is from New Orleans, so you did make a good point. Both of y'all did. But I feel like, Kendrick, you really can't go wrong. You can flip a coin, but I kind of lean towards Kendrick Lamar though, because like you said with Jay-Z, Jay-Z's a businessman, so he can go with he gonna make the smart business decision. He can go with what's hot right now. So yeah, Wayne ain't really. Wayne is Wayne. Wayne ain't really hot right. Wayne's always gonna be hot, but at the same time, he's not like popping right now. It's all about Kendrick Lamar. And if it weren't for Lil Wayne being from New Orleans, I don't even think he would have been. So maybe, who knows? Maybe he can get Wayne up there with him or whatnot. So who knows? Lil Wayne is from New Orleans. Maybe they can collab or something like that.
That would be nice.
Yeah, we got plenty of time between them. We got about 4 or 5 months. But I'm not really surprised though, because Kendrick Lamar, he's one of the hottest things popping right now. So either way, I hope to be there, whatnot, to hear see how everything go. But yeah, man, I think we're in store for a good halftime show.
Oh yeah, I think it's gonna be fire, bro.
And one more quick point before JJ goes. Did anyone on this panel see on YouTube or any social media Kendrick Lamar's pop-out concert in LA?
I ain't seen it yet.
That probably was the icing on the cake as to why it was selected. When you can go anytime
I'm gonna watch that after the show.
Anytime you perform Not Like Us 6 times in a row and the crowd asks for all of it. At one point, he shuts the music. They're singing the lyrics. They're yelling the lyrics. Dude, even off that alone, how do you not go with Kendrick Lamar?
Nah, Kendrick deserves it. But JJ, what you got to say about this subject?
So it's a couple of points that everybody sit to say. I want to start with Jay's point because I'll even extend it. This is the issue of Drake stands in our age group and above. Because you could tell because of who they said should be doing it. And they try to fake it off talking about the Super Bowls and stuff. First and foremost, I remember 2010s, people were even actually tripping saying, was really Wayne from that area? Was really Wayne doing that? But then they put that to rest. You say Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne was rapping and he was at the prime in the 2000s and beyond. Method Man performed for a crowd that was of the generation that's going to be watching the Super Bowl, and he said the gap was not there. He said the gap is too evident, right? So you pick Lil Wayne. Why didn't you pick Future? Like, why didn't you pick other people? If you were going to prove and sit there and say you really wanted to be someone that was relevant or whatever the case may be, you could have tapped Future. Nobody really is going to see Lil Wayne because nobody's going to care about Lil Wayne's music. None of these people, these young generation, care about Wayne's music. They're the ones that y'all, people at our age, are arguing with because they're saying their rappers are better than him. So why would you bring him to a game that everybody's watching and this generation's watching? They don't care. Nobody cares about the Carters except for our age and older. Nobody cares about all of his Millie, Lollipop. Nobody cares to hear that stuff anymore.
Yep, that's true.
So at the end of the day, you're really just mad because you're going to hear a song about a guy that you love at the biggest stage and have everybody rocking to it. It's just for them, This is insult to injury for you because your boy is you have to defend him from people saying that he lost. Then on top of that, he's being rewarded for it. And you can tell that it's about Drake. It's because everyone now sits there and says he wouldn't have had this without the beef. That's how you know it's not about what he is doing. It's just about that he had this thing with Drake. If he ain't had no issue with Drake and they ain't had nothing going on, I promise you nobody would have cared. Nobody would have cared. But that's all it is. And it's like, people, y'all.
I don't think anybody should care.
Get over it. Drake.
I think what he's done in his career
enjoy Drake being a fanboy for every superstar. He's like the ultimate groupie. Enjoy it. Just enjoy him being. You see the way he looks at the players and stuff, basketball, football. Just enjoy him being a groupie. You can't enjoy him still being able to make music. Enjoy everything that you said you love about him, but you ain't gonna change the fact that.
Let me ask this question because I feel like both of y'all kind of went in the same direction. Are you guys saying that the people that's outraged and saying Lil Wayne should perform is not actually Lil Wayne's real fan? It's actually Drake's fans in a closet.
I think he's just a default because they don't want to really say Drake. They don't want to really say Drake.
Yeah, and they know that in time Drake was signed to Wayne, and if Wayne was chosen, there's a chance he may bring out Drake.
Who brought him to Young Money? You are just using this as a default. That's why I said because you could have
using Wayne as a proxy.
I never looked at it at that perspective.
You could have said Joyner Lucas, Future, whoever else that y'all sit there and say y'all rapping. You're not going to show the fact that you want to say Drake. You're mad because you're going to have somebody here on television make these jokes about this guy that you love to national television, and to hear people again say, "Yo, he the man for doing this." That's what y'all don't want. Y'all don't want people giving congratulations to Kendrick for a song that's condemning your favorite guy, and Wayne's the default for it.
Do you think the NFL is going to say something to Kendrick and tell him not to play the song "Not Like Us" at the Super Bowl?
No, and if they did, I hope he does like what they. I hate to bring this up because I love this girl. I hope he does and do like Justin Timberlake did and ignore what he's not supposed to do and do what he did anyway.
Yeah. I think they'll.
I'm sorry, Janet. I love this girl. I'm sorry, Janet.
I feel like if the NFL did that, Kendrick was the type to be like, I don't care.
But
he got to do it anyway.
Yeah, perform it anyway. I mean, but also at the same time, how do you say, hey, this song was a massive part of your success for 2024 on top of everything else you did. So, yes, you can come perform at the Super Bowl, except that song. I think they'll ask him to kind of like maybe do the first verse and take Drake's name out of it, like self-edit it. But you can't ask the man to come perform at the Super Bowl and not play Not Like Us. That it almost if he's
the hottest songs right now.
You can't sign the man and say, don't perform this song, bro. He's performing the song.
Yeah. He's going to go NWA and perform the song anyway.
That's what I think, too.
I think we good, fellas.
Any last words?
We'll say, I love this show. I love being with y'all. We got our new guy coming in, hanging out with us. I'm sorry, new guy for me, because I know you guys have a relationship and connection with him. So it's awesome. Let this show be proof that you can have controversial topics and still be boys. Let this show prove that you can be passionate and trust and believe, everybody. Y'all haven't seen passion between me and James. I mean, me and James go. It's not like what it was for like 4 or 5 years ago. But let our show know that you need to have these issues at hand. We don't just, the gauntlet is about what you're saying. We just went through the gauntlet with these topics. We just went through the gauntlet with these topics.
I'll say that was kind of a low heat debate with the Myles Garrett and the Nick Chubb. That's nothing compared to what we've seen.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, you mean like that time you guys were arguing for like 9 hours, and I woke up and y'all were still texting back and forth? I was like, "Do you
that's the
ever
problem,
go to bed?"
That's the problem with group chat, bro. You gotta have an iPhone so you can just leave that joint.
Kendall, dude, I can't. This dude was going at
add me in that group chat. Add me in that group chat.
Yeah, I'll put you in the Facebook one.
I'm a lot calmer than I used to be. Dude, I'll tell you that.
Kendall,
I'm a lot calmer
These dudes was arguing from 7 p.m. the night before. I forgot what he was even
I don't
about.
even know what the topic was,
Yeah,
bro.
it was from 7 p.m. the night before, and then I woke up, and then 9 in the morning, and they were still going back and forth. I'm like, did y'all even go to sleep?
I remember.
The debate didn't stop.
I remember.
The debate didn't stop until like 4 o'clock in the afternoon the next day.
Yep, I remember being on the bus, still arguing with you. Like, no, I gotta tell this boy he got tripping and because my friend was like, Joseph, what's wrong? I said, hold on, and I just kept going with it because it was like, just had to go. She was like, dang, you going in? And I said,
but it is what it is, man. Kendall, I hope you had fun.
And I had hey, let's do this again next week, man.
Hey, if you want to come on, bro, let me know, and you can come on whenever you want.
Hey, y'all add me in that chat, man. I see y'all got some good takes, man. I appreciate that. I mean, hey, I had a blast on the night. My first night on the Gauntlet with y'all. I make sure y'all check out my Cans Pat Start Patriots podcast. I'll be doing start that back up Monday. We got to play Seattle Sunday. So
yeah, Kendall, you need to come on because we have history. We have history.
Yeah.
We have history.
That's one thing about our show. We also have another NFL-centric show, the guys at First and 56, Rondo Griffin and fam.
He does the
Indianapolis Colts all the time. You know, real good brothers, you know what I mean? And so, you know, be sure and reach out to them also. I've come on their show whenever the Colts play the Texans and everything. So just extend the line out, you know, if y'all teams are playing. Hey, you come on my show, I'll come on your show.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Let's get it.
All right, I just got to call out my fan base real quick before we go.
All right, last thing before we shut it down.
Yes, because I just have to call them out because I saw this today and I just remembered it. Ravens fans, we just lost to the guy that's arguably a top 5 quarterback of all time. Please stop posing trade scenarios to try to get players over here just because we lost that dang game. It's week 1. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's the 2-time defending champions with a dynasty who also know we're a great team. Stop tripping. This is ridiculous. Every time we lose to this guy, all of a sudden it's, we need to do this. We need to do this. We need to do this. I'm sitting there thinking like, I saw someone say we need to trade away Kyle Hamilton, Isaiah Likely, and try to get someone like Stephon Diggs type thing. Like just posing a wide receiver. I don't even care who the wide receiver was. I was just like, do you want to trade our best defender? And our
but can you imagine a Baltimore Ravens team if they had a player like Jamar Chase? Can you imagine that?
That's the thing, man. I feel like Baltimore is missing something, man. I like Zay Flowers. I like Likely. You got the twin tight ends. Nelson Aguilar, I think, is your number 3 receiver, and then you got Bateman. He hasn't done nothing since he's been there. He's always hurt. I like Tez Walker that y'all got from Carolina. My boy Drake May, one of his former teammates. But I feel like y'all missing something. Why y'all gonna sign Michael Thomas or something, man?
So why do we need to when only one team is in our way? Why do we need to do something? We've ran through everybody else in the league. We've shown that. We know it's just one team, so it's not
a different year, though.
Huh?
I said it's a different year, though. Like there's a lot of competition in the AFC.
It's a different year, but again, for the last 6 years, I've been told it's a different year, and yet the same thing still happens.
Hey, man, y'all best chance was to win it was last year.
I don't agree with that. I will say that's the best roster we had, but I don't think it's the best year because again, as long as number 8 is there, and as long as number 8 is healthy, this team's window is going to stay open. This team, mind you, we only got him because your team wanted him. Your team was the reason why we traded up back to get him because y'all were going to get him a second round. And so, again, it's a different year, yes, but I've seen my team. I know what they can do with teams. I know the problem, and I tell people all the time, it's literally one person, one team. This is our Peyton Manning during the years Ray Lewis had the top 10 defense because we couldn't get past them. Remember the year we went 13-3 and Indianapolis came in there and beat us on our home turf with Steve McNair? And remember, we only beat them one time to get to a Super Bowl. So when Ravens beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, that'll be the year they win the Super Bowl because it's going to be the year that they have to get them in the AFC Championship game, most likely. I'm not concerned about playing every other team because I know we can get up to play with them. I see 100% a different team when Kansas City comes compared to you guys or anybody else that comes across us. I know what it is with my team. It's not about the talent. It's about how we approach the game.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did the Ravens beat? I thought they beat Peyton Manning the year they won.
We did, but that's the only time the Ravens have ever beat Peyton Manning. I'm talking about 13-3 back when Steve McNair was our quarterback in 2006. So I said, when I see my team let Travis Kelce come up and interrupt Justin Tucker's kicking game while he's getting prepared and do nothing, that's when I know my team is not being who they are supposed to be. That's why I'm saying it's not about talent or anything like that. It's not about this. We ran the ball down Houston's throat. We ain't run the ball too much against Patrick Mahomes and them. And it's not as if their defense is great and it's amazing, but it's not as if we hadn't shown we could go against big time defenses. We change who we are who we're supposed to be because of what people say about my quarterback comparison to him. And I agree with Michael Irvin when he said it on Sport Undisputed the next day. If you had just did what you were doing all the way up until that point and let Lamar I wouldn't have cared if Lamar had 175 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 100 yards touching, 2 touchdowns. Because like Mike Irvin said, get the win. Who cares? Those people getting mad at you because you're not throwing like him. No, so it's not talent. It's just mindset.
Who y'all play Raiders Sunday, right?
Exactly.
Where's that game at? Baltimore or Vegas?
It is. Now, this will also be a good test because I know I need to see the focus on that.
That's trap game.
It's just focus. It's just focus. It's nothing, anything else. Because Chris Jones said it. Chris Jones said we were the better roster. We were the best team. But he knows the focus was not there. He knows that they saw what we were doing and they used it against us. If we get our act together and we approach them like we approach everybody else, I think we can win the Super Bowl. And it's just getting it past. Every real Ravens fan knows it. It's just one team, one person.
Yeah, and listen, not to get out, y'all struggle now.
Hey, James. Hey, I got a split, man.
All right, bro, you out.
All right, y'all.
See you, Jay.
All right, man.
All right. Y'all struggled against the Steelers since y'all have Lamar too. Now I know Pittsburgh's not a super contender, but
that's just rivalry, bro.
Yeah. Y'all have struggled against Pittsburgh. I think y'all pretty much